Hi friends, my name is Maylin and welcome back to my channel. I'm a flutist, performer, and music teacher located in the city of Kamloops, British Columbia. And this is my channel where we do all things flute. So thank you so much for joining me here today. In today's video, it's going to be the first of a new series that I'm doing. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten my other series. They're all going to be ongoing. But in this series, we'll be learning all about etudes, and I'll be teaching you from the very beginning some very beginner etudes, and then we'll be progressing to more difficult etudes as the series go along. As always, if you do have any questions throughout the video, please feel free to drop them in the comment section down below. I try my best to respond to them as soon as I see them. Also, if you do have any issues or problems when it comes to practicing, feel free to check out my free practice guide, also linked down in the description down below. It gives you 8 easy steps to follow to help you organize and set goals for your practice sessions so you can get the most out of them. Alright, so thank you so much, and let's just get right into today's video. If in case you don't know what an etude is a French word for studies, and in flute repertoire that is part of our practice regime. And etudes, essentially studies, focus on one particular aspect or a few particular aspects of our technique or playing. So that way we can work on music that's not necessarily our repertoire, so like songs or pieces that we can play that is interesting and helps us to figure out our strengths and weaknesses when it comes to our technique. The book that I'll be reading out of for this series is going to be this one, the 76 Greatest Studies for the Flute. And this one's going to be book number 1. There's also book number 2 as well, the blue one. So once we get through this one, then I'll switch to the blue one as well. So it's going to be an ongoing series here. To start with, we'll be doing 1 page per video. So if you do have this book and you're following along, that's how I'm going to be structuring this series. Of course, since it's the first day, we're going to be starting on page 1. That is going to include studies 1 through 3. So as always, I'm going to do each study at a time. And if you are just looking for one of the studies, you feel free to check the little stamps in the description, and then you can actually just skip to whichever study you want to work on. So hopefully that helps you if you don't want to read through every single etude with me. As always, I'm going to put it up right here. And what we're going to be doing, as we usually do with my other beginner series, we're going to start with identifying things like the key signature, the time signature, the tempo marking, and then we'll go into the clapping and counting. And then after that, we'll be doing the playthrough with the flute. Number 1, we're going to notice that there is no key signature here, so don't have to worry. This is going to be in C major, so if there's nothing there, that means it's in C major. You can also check the very beginning notes and the ending notes. They'll usually end in the tonic, which is that first note of the key signature. And in this case, we see C at the beginning and C at the end, so that just helps to affirm that it's in C major. We are in 4/4 time, known as common time, so that means we have 4 quarter notes per measure. And then we also have the speed here, and that's allegretto, and they also put it in brackets how fast it should be. A quarter equals 120. So if we pull out a metronome, so with my metronome, I just have an app on my phone, so it's really easy if you have any kind of smart device, so you can just download a metronome app there. So that means each time it goes tick, that is 1 quarter note. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I'm going to do with the clap and count today, since we are doing the studies with the metronome, as by the way, almost all your studies should be practiced with a metronome, so it's going to help you figure out the internalized beats and keep a steady rhythm when you play these. So what I'm going to do is you're going to hear the metronome very lightly in the background here while I do the clapping and counting for you, just so that when you're practicing by yourself, this is how you know how to practice. First, I'm going to start by playing it at a slower tempo, and then I'm going to be playing it at the concert tempo, or at the tempo that is marked. So when you're starting, if you're not certain with your counting, where your rests are, always start really nice and slow. That way you can actually work through and learn the music properly the first time, and so that when you're actually playing it at a faster tempo, you won't make so many mistakes because you already know what it is at a slower tempo. So I'm going to start at 60 here, so that's half the speed it should be. I'll count in the bar for nothing, and then I'll start clapping. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, very good. So if you feel like you're really comfortable with that when you were clapping that along with me, then feel free to jump to the next one. So that's the one that I'm going to do at the concert tempo, or the final tempo, where the quarter note is 120. All right, and here is the tempo at 120. So I'm going to count in 1 bar, and then I'll start. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. Okay, so I'm gonna just pause the metronome here for a second. So if you feel like you're a little bit unsure about where you're clapping and where you're not, again, feel free to take it slower. Go back to the metronome and start it at a slower tempo. I just want to recap which notes we're playing and what their note values are. Here we see these quarter notes, but they have a hole in them. So those are actually called half notes. And for each half note, we have 2 quarter notes. So if we are putting our metronome on, a quarter note equals 60. That means every single time the metronome ticks, it's 1 beat. So when we count it, that means that each half note is 2 beats. So it would go 1, 2. And when we're playing it, we're holding it through both beats. So that's how we're going to do that. All right, and then for the rests, so those are those little bar things. Those are half rests. So they are the exact same value as the half notes. So they are 2 quarter notes per half note rest. So that means you're not playing anything. So now that we've done through the clap and count, both the slower tempo, half tempo, and the full tempo, now we're going to bring in our flute. So same thing, just like with the rhythm, start slow and slowly increase it until you get to the final tempo marking. So for many people at the beginning, it may seem really easy. You might want to move each day a 6 clicks or 2 clicks. It really depends on how you're feeling and how quickly you want to learn these etudes. So there's no pressure. As long as you're working steadily towards the goal, that is all that matters. So I'm going to put the metronome back to 60, and now I'm going to be playing it on my flute. So again, I'm going to do the same thing as before. Count 1 bar before I start playing. 1, 2, 3. So that is the etude at the half tempo. So that is, again, 60 equals a quarter note. And now I'm going to be playing at the final speed here. So that is going to be a quarter note equals 120. So again, I'll count 1 bar before we start. 1, 2, 3. and that's going to be etude number 1. If you do have any trouble with the letters, of course, feel free to pause the video and write them down on a little piece of paper so that way it helps you to remember what the notes are. So now we're going to be doing the same thing with number 2. So here's number 2 right over here. All right, so let's take a look at the key signature. Again, that's located right beside the clef, so the treble clef there. So we see there's one flat, that's B flat. So that means every single time we see a B, it has to be flat. And in this case, we are in F major. So F major has a key signature of one flat, which is B flat, which we see there. And again, at the beginning and the end, we see F. So you start on the higher F there, and we end on the lower F. All right, so now we're going to be doing the clap and count first at the half time. So it's going to be at around 62. We'll start there. This particular study is focusing on the articulation staccato. So that means we want all the notes to be nice and detached. And we can also represent this with our clapping. So make sure that when you're clapping, it can be a little bit shorter like that, just so that it'll help you to remember what the articulation means there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, very good. And we're also going to take note of the musical markings that we have here as well. So at the beginning, we have the F underneath the first bar, the first F, and that doesn't stand for the F, although it works perfectly. It does stand for forte. That is an Italian term that means loud. And then at the very end on that fourth line, just before we end the piece, we have R-A-L-L dot. That stands for Rall or rallentando, which means to slow down gradually. So if you were to play it with the metronome, so what you would want to do is you would actually want to play off of the metronome a little bit, and I'll show you what that sounds like when we start playing the flute. Okay, and now we're going to do it at the final tempo here, the clapping count. So this is a quarter note equals 126. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, very good. So now we're going to do it with the flute. So again, if you do feel like you are not certain with any of the notes that we have here, feel free to pause, write in any of the note names, and then come back. Okay, so now I'm going to be playing flute at the quarter note equals 62, just so that you have an idea of where that is. So start slow, and then we'll get fast. 1, 2, 3. Right, so if you notice at the end what I played there was a little bit of a rallentando. So I actually started playing behind the beat, so that actually felt like I was slowing down very, very slowly, very gradually till the very end. So it really has a nice settling bum, bum. All right, and now we're going to play it at the final tempo here. So that means a quarter equals 126. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I like that one. That one's really fun. And then, of course, if you do want a recap of articulations and you're just not sure what each of those little symbols actually mean, then I'm going to actually link my articulations video listed down in the description, and I go over all the different kinds of articulations that you will need to know as a beginner to an intermediate player. Okay, and then the last one we're going to be doing here is number 3, so I'm going to be putting it up right over here. So this one we have a nice mixture of, we have quarter notes and half notes, as well as the quarter note rest. Oh, I forgot to mention that in the last one. Quarter note rest is that little squiggly line, and that means you rest for 1 quarter note. So 1 beat. Let's make sure we look at the key signature. So we see nothing in the key signal accidentals. So that means you're going to assume it's in C major. So the beginning note isn't C, but the ending note is C. So we know for sure that that's in C major. We don't see any accidentals throughout the piece as well. Also, we are in C, so common time. So that's another symbol for 4/4, which is 4 quarter notes per measure. The tempo here is moderato. So at the final tempo, it'll be 1 quarter note equals 130. So that means I'm going to start at 65. Okay, so we're going to, of course, do the clap and count as per usual. Before we start, I just want you to make a note of those little check marks there. In this book, that is the note for a breath. So that means that when we're playing the flute, we want to make sure that we are taking a nice deep breath whenever we see those breath marks. That helps with the phrasing overall. Okay, so I'm going to again count 1 bar for nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Rest. Okay, very good. And then again, make sure that you notice that we do have a dynamic marking at the beginning as well, and that is in MF, so that stands for mezzo forte, which is moderately loud. Okay, so now we're going to be going to the final tempo here. So that is 130 is a quarter note. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Rest. Okay. So that should be a good exercise to go to. That might feel, again, a little bit faster. It is a little bit faster than the last two. We are slowly getting faster, if you have noticed. Okay, so now I'm going to drop it down again to 65, and now we're going to bring it with the flute. 1, 2, 3. Okay, very good. So that one should be really great, especially great for your tone when you're holding all those beautiful half notes. Okay, and now I'm going to be going back up to the final tempo here, and that is a quarter equals 130. 1, 2, 3. So I hope that you enjoyed this new video with all the different etudes. As always, if you do have any questions for this video, feel free to drop them in the comment section down below. If you have any requests for formatting for the new videos, please feel free to let me know. If there's something you feel like I should add, something you feel like is a little redundant, I'd love to know what you think. And as always, feel free to check out my free practice guide if you are finding that your practice sessions are a little bit unfocused. It is linked in the description down below. It is free, and you can download it as a PDF so that you can bring it around wherever you want to go. That's going to be it for today. So thank you so much again, everyone, for watching. And as always, happy fluting!